From, well, I'm not sure where from, but it's the U.S. Senator Roger Wicker. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, and yes, I'm speaking to you from the capital city, Washington, D.C. How are you?
Are you in a chop zone, or are you in a free American zone as we speak?
I'm on Capitol Hill in the Dirksen building, and all is quiet on Capitol Hill, but these chop zones are ridiculous.
They're crazy. Have you seen any of this personally? I mean, can you see it when you go back and forth?
Well, actually, I wrote my column about that 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had the National Guard from Mississippi up, and Cindy Hyde-Smith and I went to visit them where they were in the central part of Washington. And yes, storefronts and cafes were boarded up, plyboard, and it's not good. But I think things are going to turn around. I just think the American people are wise to all this, and they're starting to.
Well, I'm looking at the latest polling numbers, and it's certainly not helping them. The president's popularity was at 46% after everything has been thrown at the guy. It's just
good.
remarkable.
Well, I hadn't seen that.
No, it's 46. As a matter of fact, geez, I have it here somewhere. What the heck? The thing that was outstanding in there that was just mind-boggling, I got it here. Oh, independent voters. Approval was 40%. The African-American U.S. voters approved, including 39%. 39% approval on black likely voters. 39%. Considering the literally billions of dollars of negative attacks on this guy, it's just amazing.
Well, Paul, that brings up something that I really wanted to get in today, and I know you don't have much time with me, but a very outstanding United States Senator, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, is on the floor last week and this week trying to get Senate Democrats to agree with us to bring up a police reform bill, a bill to make police more accountable, to do better training about diffusing situations, improve what a lot of people are concerned about. And we cannot get Chuck Schumer and his Democratic minority to agree to even bring the bill up for debate and amendments. And it's strictly because they just can't stand the idea of one of the two black senators in the United States Senate being an African-American Republican from South Carolina. They just don't want Tim Scott to have a victory. And I hope some of our listeners will go on YouTube and look at his speech on the floor of the Senate last week, the 5th anniversary of the Mother Emanuel church massacre in South Carolina, and see the powerful, unifying Christian message that Tim Scott made. It is something to make you proud. It's something to bring it all home and put things in perspective. And the fact that he would be accused of being a token and not being sincere and not trying to get a real result is just amazing. If you want to be inspired by some real talent in the United States Senate and a great Republican senator, Tim Scott last week on YouTube is a can't miss.
I do say this because I check so much stuff on politics to do show prep, and I see more and more when now people are calling somebody who steps off the plantation an Uncle Tom. It's just not resonating like it was 10 or 15 years ago with social media. A lot of times it's counterproductive to what they're trying to do. These protesters, day before yesterday, tried to tear down the Andrew Jackson statue, and that's not too far from the White House. And I think the president's basically said that there were quite a few arrests and more arrests coming. But from my understanding, this is a federal offense, and some of these people are going to have it, just like the woman who burned down Wendy's, they're going to find out that the George Soros public defender is not coming to help them. They got problems.
Well, absolutely. That small business owner of that Wendy's had nothing to do with the shooting. They just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's outrageous. We are a country that believes in property rights and the rule of law. And I'll tell you, Paul, I was watching the election returns last night. From around the country, the ultra-left is taking over the Democratic Party.
Oh, I saw that.
Those New York primaries, it looks to me like the Democratic chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee is going to be defeated by an ally of AOC, and they seem determined to move the Democratic Party to the far left. They want to defund the police. Nobody is going to vote for that. The majority of Americans are going to say we have to reject that sort of thing in November. But it was continuing last night in New York, and there'll be some more returns today.
I've got the stack of stuff here on it, but you're right. It's when you think they're far left, and all of a sudden they get somebody who's even more so. You begin to wonder what the hell are they? What are they doing? The other thing is, and I was telling Perez and the audience this morning, I caught myself watching C-SPAN. It was a couple of weeks ago, and they were doing the Cory Wilson thing. And I mean, they drag these people, and it was more sensitive to me because Cory's been on the program a lot, and we followed his career, and he's a good friend. But they drag these people through the septic tank of Washington, D.C. It's just amazing. You got to be pretty strong just to go through this process.
True. And I think but before Cory agreed to let his nomination go from being a district judge to being the Fifth Circuit, we had to talk about that. There's no telling what they might ask you about something you did in college. I said, just be ready. And he said, I think my record stands up. But I'm glad you brought that up. He will be the 200th Donald Trump judge, and I think it's just very fitting that distinction goes to Mississippi's Cory Wilson. And of course, if you know him, if he's been on your program, if you've been before him in court, basically he's mild-mannered Clark Kent, if anything. Soft-spoken, intelligent, firm, fair. He got the highest rating the American Bar Association gives, and sometimes I've had to sniff at them being called the gold standard, but even so, they looked at this conservative judge and this member of the community and a former member of the legislature, and they said he's well qualified, which is their highest ranking. So the 200th judge today, I think we'll do that around noontime, Washington, and I'll be giving high fives all over the place. And then yesterday, the 200th mile of the border wall.
That was incredible, yeah.
President Trump and Senator Martha McSally were down there looking at that. So we're continuing to make progress for the American people, and we're still going to have the 4th of July, and we still have the greatest civilization, the greatest standard of living, the greatest ability to get out and work for yourselves and provide for your family.
Here's what
that this country's ever had.
Here's what is so disheartening, because almost like some things that have undergone character assassination and rebranding, there are people out there when you say America is great, that is almost a negative to some of these people. Then you want to say, okay, tell me another country that's as good right now. If you want to leave, where are you going to go to have the amount of freedom, the amount of opportunity that you have, all be it with there's some problems? Tell me another country, and if it is, leave and go there. Is it Canada, Mexico, Germany, Russia, North Korea? I got to ask you about the Commerce Committee. Can you hang on for a second?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
All right, one more with the good Senator Roger Wicker, live from Washington, D.C. Already, we'd be live, and one quick note here. I was informed that BIPEC met yesterday, had a board meeting yesterday, and voted unanimously for the legislature to do away with the present Mississippi flag, so add BIPEC into that that group also. Back with Senator Roger Wicker, and I was going to ask you about this as far as the Commerce Committee is concerned. And I know you guys have been working on a sundry of things, but people don't realize how important that office is. That we said earlier this morning, it's a big deal as far as being chairman of the Commerce Committee. But just to spend a couple of seconds here letting people know how it does interact with the state of Mississippi.
Well, if you think airlines are important, if you think rail is important, if you think highways is important, we got it all. And then this internet, that's our primary jurisdiction. And I tell you, I've got a hearing in 27 minutes that I got to preside over. But one thing we're going to explore today, Paul, is these big online platforms where there's some people behind the scenes that think they can regulate conservative speech by demonetizing certain sites. There's a site called the Federalist, and some of y'all may click onto them. You can't have content that's incendiary and lewd and harmful, but you can have comment that's controversial. And NBC News and Google the other day tried to shut down the ability of this site to express their views. We're going to visit with the Federal Communications Commission first thing about that today, and try to make it clear. As long as it's not obscene and violent, we want the internet to be a big old platform that it's been for decades now for free speech and free views from both ends of the political spectrum, and we're going to visit about that.
Well, I'm a guy who...
It's something the president is very concerned about.
And he should be.
We're going to get some information today that he will like.
I've spent my whole entire life in broadcast, and I'm the last guy that said, and we certainly don't want the fairness doctrine back, and we don't want over-regulation. Thank God we don't have the regulations from the FCC we used to have when I first started out. But in some ways, when you have people like Google and Facebook, and these people are so powerful and they control so much, a lot more than actually television or radio does as far as what they can and cannot do.
There's no question about it.
I don't see how they can escape some type of government regulations. I mean, you can't be that powerful and not have some guidelines.
Well, there's a law now. It's Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. It's been on the books for a while, and basically there's some things you can do, but beyond that, the internet has prospered, and our economy has prospered because of the internet, because it has been free and open, and we haven't taxed it, and we haven't shut it down, and we need to make sure that these forces from the left that apparently in control of a lot of these big communications companies don't do that. So we may make a little news today. It may not compare to what else is going on. But,
is that going to be on C-SPAN, or is it going to be televised?
Well, yes, yeah. Our hearing will be live at the top of the hours, 9 o'clock Central. And if anybody
there you go.
is interested, we're going to talk about it.
This promotional public service announcement brought to you by Roger Wicker. Senator, thank you, sir. I'm letting you go. I know you're busy.
Okay. Well, I know you're busy, too, and good luck to y'all.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it very much.